To all the members of Haslington WI,
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year!
Everyone, I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you're staying safe, as are all your families. I'd just like to read you this poem, which I found on the internet, which I thought would be quite appropriate. It's Merry Christmas to all my WI friends. If I were old Santa, you know what I'd do? I'd dump the silly gifts that are given to you and deliver some things just inside your front door, things you've lost but treasured before. I'd give you all back your maidenly vigour, and to go along with it, a tiny neat figure. Then restore the old colour that was once graced your hair, before rinsers and bleachers took residence there. I'd bring back the shape with which you were gifted, so things now suspended don't need to be uplifted. I'd draw in your tummy and smooth down your back, and you'd be a dream in those tight-fitting slacks. I'd remove all your wrinkles and leave only one chin, so you wouldn't spend hours rubbing grease in your skin. You never have flashes or queer dizzy spells, and you wouldn't hear noises like ringing of bells. No sore aching feet and no corns on your toes. No searching for spectacles which are right there on your nose. Not a shot would you take in your arm, hip or rump from a doctor who thinks you're just a nervous old grump. You never have a headache, so no pills would be there. No heating pad needed, since your muscles won't ache. I'd give you a lift to your heart when those wolves start to whistle, and the joys of your heart would be light as a thistle. But alas, I'm not Santa. I'm simply just me, plain old Joyce Bird from Winterley. I could give you a list of all the symptoms I've got, but sorry, I'm due at the doctor's for this new COVID shot. Even though we've grown older, the wish is sincere. Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year.
Happy Christmas, everyone. Just a little poem to make you laugh. I'm normally a social girl. I love to meet my mates, but lately the virus here, we can't get out the gates. You see, we are the oldies now. We need to stay inside. If they haven't seen us for a while, they'll think we've upped and died. They'll never know the things we did before we got so old. There wasn't any Facebook, so not everything was told. We may seem sweet old ladies who would never be uncouth, but we grew up in the 60s. If you only knew the truth. There was sex and drugs and rock and roll and pill and miniskirts. We smoked, we drank, we parted, and were quite outrageous flirts. Then we settled down, got married and turned into someone's mum, somebody's wife, then Nana. Who on earth did we become? We didn't mind the change of pace because our lives were full. But to bury us before we dead is like red rag to a bull. So here you find me stuck inside for 4 weeks, maybe more. I finally found myself again, then I had to close the door. It didn't really bother me. I'd while away the hour. I'd bake for all the family, but I've got no flaming flower. Now Netflix is just wonderful. I like a gusty thriller. I'm swooning over Idris, or some random sexy killer. At least I've got a stash of booze for when I'm being idle. There's wine and whiskey, even gin, if I'm feeling suicidal. So let's all drink to lockdown, to recovery and health, and hope this awful virus doesn't decimate our wealth. We'd all get through the crisis and be back to join our mates, just hoping I'm not far too wide to fit through the flaming gates.
Hi everybody, I'm going to recite two poems. The first one is Albert and the Lion, that I hope everybody has already heard, and the second one is the follow-on, What Happens to Albert After He's Been Eaten by the Lion. So here we go. There's a famous seaside place called Blackpool that's noted for fresh air and fun, and Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom went there with Albert, their son. A grand little lad was young Albert, all dressed in his best, quite a swell, with a stick with an horse's head handle, the finest that Woolworths could sell. They didn't think much at Thorsham, the waves were fiddling and small. There were no wrecks and nobody drowned, fact nothing to laugh at all. So seeking for further amusement, they paid and went into the zoo. There were lions and they'd tigers and camels, and old ale and sandwiches too. There were one great big lion called Wallace. His nose were all covered with scars. He lay in a somnolent posture, with the side of his face on the bars. Now Albert was heard about lions, how they were ferocious and wild. To see Wallace lying so peaceful, well, it don't seem right to child. So straightway the brave little fella, not showing a morsel of fear, took his stick with his horse's head handle and pushed it in Wallace's ear. You could see that the lion didn't like it, for giving a kind of a roll, he pulled Albert inside the cage with him and swallowed the little lad whole. Then Pa, who had seen the occurrence and didn't know what to do next, said, "Mother, yon lion's et Albert." And Mother said, "Well, I am vexed." Then Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom, quite rightly, when all's said and done, complained to the animal keeper that lion had eaten the son. The keeper was quite nice about it. He said, "What a nasty mishap. Are you sure that it's your boy he's eaten?" Pa said, "I'm sure. Here's his cap." The manager had to be sent for. He came and said, "What's to do?" Pa said, "Young lion's et Albert, and him in his Sunday clothes too." Then Mother said, Right, young fella. I think it's a shame and a sin for lion to go and eat Albert, and after we paid to come in." The manager wanted no trouble. He took out his purse right away, saying, "How much to settle the matter?" And Pa said, "What do you usually pay?" But Mother had turned a bit awkward when she thought that her Albert had gone. She said, "No, someone's got to be summoned." So that was decided upon. Then off they went to the police station, in front of the magistrate chap. They told him what had happened to Albert and proved it by showing his cap. The magistrate gave his opinion that no one was really to blame, and he said that he hoped the Ramsbottoms would have further sons to their name. At that Mother got proper blazing, and "Thank you kindly, sir," she said. "What waste all our lives raising children to feed ruddy lions? Not me." And the second poem, this is the follow-on now, What Happened at the Zoo. You've heard how young Albert Ramsbottom in zoo up at Blackpool one year, with a stick with his horse's head handle, gave a lion a poke in fear. The name of the lion was Wallace. The poke in the ear made him wild, and before you could say, "Bob's your uncle," he'd up and he'd swallowed the child. He was sorry the moment he'd done it. With children he'd always been chums, and besides he'd no teeth in his noddle, and he couldn't chew Albert on his gums. He could feel the lad moving inside him as he lay on his bed of dried ferns, and it might have been little lad's birthday. He wished him such happy returns, but Albert kept kicking and fighting until Wallace arose feeling bad, and felt it were time that he'd started to stage a comeback for the lad. So with his head down in corner on his front paws he started to walk. And he coughed and he sneezed and he gargled till Albert shot out like a cork. Oh, Wallace felt better directly, and his figure once more became lean, but the only difference with Albert was that his face and his hands were quite clean. Meanwhile, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsbottom had gone home to tea, feeling blue. Ma says, I feel down in mouth like. Pa says, aye, I bet Albert does too. Said Ma, it just goes to show you that the future is never revealed. If I thought we were going to lose him, I'd not have his boots soled and heeled. Let's look on the bright side, said Father. What can't be helped must be endured. Every cloud has a silvery lining, and we did have young Albert insured. A knock at the door came that moment, as Father these kind words did speak. 'Twas the man from Prudential. He called for their twopence per person per week. When Father said who had been knocking, he laughed, and he kept laughing so that the young man said, what's there to laugh at? Pa said, you'll laugh and all when you know. Excuse him for laughing, said Mother, but really things happen so strange. Our Albert's been ate by a lion. You've got to pay us for a change, said the young fella from the Prudential. Now, come, let's understand this. You don't mean to say that you've lost him? Ma said, oh no, we know where he is. When the young man had heard all the details, a purse from a pocket he drew, and he paid him, what interest and bonus, the sum of £9, 4 and 2. Pa had scarce got his hand on his money when a face at the window they see, and Mother said, "Hey, look, it's Albert." And Father says, "Aye, it would be." Young Albert came in all excited and started his story to give. And Pa says, "I'll never trust lions again, not as long as I live." The young man from Prudential to pick up the money began, and Father says, "Hey, just a moment, don't be in a hurry, young man." Then giving young Albert a shilling, he said, "Pop off back to the zoo. Here's your stick with voices and handle. Go and see what little tigers can do." That's the end. Hope you all enjoyed it.
The fifth lesson is taken from St Luke chapter 1 verses 26 to 38, the Annunciation of Mary. In the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. The angel went to her and said, "Greetings, you who are highly favoured. The Lord is with you." Mary was greatly troubled at his words and wondered what kind of greeting this might be. But the angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favour with God. You will conceive and give birth to a son, and you are to call him Jesus. He will be great and will be called the Son of the Most High. The Lord God will give him the throne of his father David, and he will reign over Jacob's descendants forever. His kingdom will never end." "How will this be, Mary?" asked the angel, "since I am a virgin?" The angel answered, "The Holy Spirit will come on you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you. So the Holy One to be born will be called the Son of God. Even Elizabeth, your relative, is going to have a child in her old age, and she who was said to be unable to conceive is in her 6th month, for no word from God will ever fail." "I am the Lord's servant," Mary answered. "May your word to me be fulfilled." Then the angel left her. Thanks be to God.